Okay, so hello everyone. Let's start with the part 2 of Polity and Governance of Vajiram and Ravi monthly magazine, June 2026. So, we had covered till National Award for e-governance 2026, and coming to the next topic, we have National e-Vidhan application. So, NEVA, National e-Vidhan application. So, what is this? So recently, the West Bengal Legislative Assembly signed MOU for implementation of National e-Vidhan application. So about NEVA, what is it? So it is a mission mode project under the Digital India program and is based on the concept of one nation, one application for all legislatures. See here, for all legislatures. So the benefits of this are faster processing of legislative business, improved record management and document retrieval, reduced administrative and printing costs, better coordination among legislators, committees, and legislative secretariats, and enhanced public access to legislative information. Now, what are the key features? So, this NEVA, okay, that is the National E-Vidhan application. It provides a common digital platform for the functioning of state legislatures. It enables paperless conduct of legislative business. It facilitates digital processing of questions, notices, bills, committees, reports, and other legislative documents. And so on, these you can read. Now, what is the purpose where you can use this article and all? So, in case we have some concepts like e-governance or introducing technology in governance and all. So, these all aspects, you can give this as an example that yes, this application, that is National e-Vidhan application, it is introduced and it can be used in the legislatures, and how it can improve the working of the legislature in the record management, in the document retrieval, how it will help in digitization, in modernization of the legislative functions, efficiency, productivity, transparency, accessibility, and many more. Now it is implemented by the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs with technical support from the National Informatics Center. And nothing more to remember from this. Just remember that this National e-Vidhan application, it is for all legislatures, and it is because for a kind of e-governance type system. Now the next is DNA test in paternity cases. Now what to remember from this article? See, here you don't need to remember all these facts. So no need. Okay. Just remember a point what I am telling you. That is, the first is, you have to remember that courts cannot ignore an individual's right to know their biological identity and assert inheritance rights. That is, an individual have the right to know their biological identity. Okay. The next is, therefore, DNA testing may be ordered only in exceptional circumstances where justice so requires. So wherever the justice is required, in those cases, DNA test, it becomes the right of the individual. So significance is that reinforces the right to privacy is not absolute. So the right to privacy is not absolute. Now why this came now, that one's individual right to know their biological identity through the DNA cannot be ignored. So why this came? So see, in the paternity cases, like here it is written, in the paternity cases, so the court had to balance the father's right to privacy against the claimant's right to establish identity and inheritance claim. So there are two rights. First, the father's right to privacy, which we knew now that it is not an absolute right, and the claimant's right to establish identity and inheritance claim. So the court says that the claimant's right to establish identity and inheritance claim, it is this, that it cannot be ignored as an individual right to know their biological identity. Okay, and in those exceptional cases, the DNA test can be ordered. So right to privacy is not absolute. Now in prelims it can come that right to privacy, I am framing a question. Like the first point will say, I am writing it here, see. The first point says that right to privacy comes under Article 21. Okay, it's true. Now, right to privacy was first introduced through the case, Puttaswamy case. Okay. Now, third point it can come, right to privacy is an absolute right. So now there can be options like 1, 2, 3 or 2 alone, or like 1 and 2. So you have to solve from this. Okay, so or none. So it's 4 options. Okay, so this question can be framed. So remember that right to privacy is not an absolute right, so it has certain restrictions. So okay, this is all about the news, and no need to remember such so much of articles in detail, so much of facts in detail. Okay, the next is 8th Central Pay Commission. Now what to remember from this? So the first important fact is this, that is the pay commission is constituted by the union government to review and recommend. So what is the work of the pay commission? To review and recommend pay scales, allowances, pension structures, service conditions of central government employee and pensioners. And its recommendations generally influence state governments, PSUs and autonomous bodies. Now, 8th Pay Commission was constituted in November 2025. Nature is ad hoc. What does it ad hoc means? Ad hoc means it is temporary, not permanent. Ad hoc. Coverage is civilian employees, defense personnel, pensioners. And chairperson you doesn't need to remember for UPSC perspective. It can be important for any other exam. So this is, and remember that the first pay commission came in 1946. And after independence, the first pay commission came in 1957. And currently the 8th pay commission is in 2025 and 7th pay commission was in 2014. So these are the important points you should remember from this box, and no need to remember any extra things. Now coming to what is the news here. So 8th pay commission should be viewed not merely as an exercise in revising salaries and pensions, but an opportunity to fundamentally reform India's public sector compensation system, and should focus on transparency, equity, performance orientation, and fiscal sustainability in government compensation. Okay, and what are the key concerns here? That is lack of a scientific compensation framework, because it largely relies on representations from various service and employee groups, and India lacks a uniform methodology to compare responsibility, that is expertise, risk, accountability, career progression across services. So we need to give scientific compensation. Okay, like we should compare according to the responsibilities carried on, like the expertise, the risk taken, the accountability maintained, the career progression across the services and all. Civil military compensation issues. Then we have non-functional upgradation, fragmented compensation regime, pension related challenges and all. So if you can, then just take a look of this article. But this box is very important from a prelims perspective mainly. Now these are the reforms. Reforms include permanent national compensation authority, that is replace the decadal pay commission. So remember, pay commission is decadal. So in a question can come like pay commission comes in every 5 years. So no, it comes decadal with a permanent expert body. This will enable continuous review instead of periodic salary shocks. Objective evaluation framework, that is compensation should be based on measurable criteria such as responsibility, as we learned above only, responsibility, skill requirements and all. Now greater transparency, that is publicly disclose principles and methodology used for compensation decisions, reduce ad hoc negotiations among services. There is rationalization of pension schemes, that is harmonized pension framework while ensuring fiscal sustainability, reduce long term unfunded liabilities. Then is performance linked components, that is introduce incentives linked to outcomes, productivity and service delivery rather than seniority alone. Okay, so these all are the news. And the next is cockroach, election symbol and election commission's rules. Now what is to remember from this article? So see, no need to memorize all this. First of all, you know this already, that election symbols are allotted by the ECI, okay, Election Commissioner of India, under the Reservation and Allotment Order 1968. Now ECI, here it is written, Election Commission examines whether the proposed symbol is distinct and easily identifiable, does not resemble any existing reserved symbol, does not hurt religious sentiments or public morality, does not create confusion among voters. Now cockroach symbol is unlikely. Why? So because Election Commission has stopped allotting animal symbols to new parties and candidates in 1990s following representations from animal welfare activists. So remember this fact. Why can't this cockroach symbol be allowed? because it has been restricted to be used by any new parties or candidates in the 1990s, which is brought by following the representations from animal welfare activists. Okay, so this is only the major thing. Now in the next prelims it can come like animal symbols can be allotted uh, in as election symbols. So is it true? So no, animal symbols cannot be allotted. Okay, so this is the main thing you should remember. Coming to the next one, Supreme Court recognizes homemakers as nation builders. Now I have covered this in my Down to Earth magazine section, uh, so you can watch that video. So now, coming to this news, so Supreme Court has ordered that rupees 30,000 per month for loss of domestic care services provided by a deceased homemaker. So in case of accident cases, motor accident cases, in case the deceased is a woman, then how the compensation would be calculated, it is rupees 30,000 per month for a woman. So in this, the court recognizes women's unpaid work or women's household activities or homemaking job as a job. Okay, it recognized this field. Okay, so now in this, which articles it covers? Article 14 to 21, and this observations you can just take a look of it. That is, here it is written: unpaid domestic labor has an economic value and cannot be treated as invisible and or insignificant merely because it is not compensated through wages. And the court held that loss of domestic care should be treated as a separate and independent head of compensation in motor accident cases. Now, significance of the judgment is very important. That is, it recognizes the economic value of unpaid care work and household work, as women work has never been recognized. So this is the first time it has been recognized. Now, strengthens gender justice by acknowledging the contribution of women engaged in unpaid domestic work, likely to increase the compensation awarded in motor accident cases involving the death of homemakers. And it marks a shift from viewing homemaking as a non-economic activity to recognizing it as a productive labor which with measurable social and economic value. And for more detail, you can watch my Down to Earth video. Okay. So the next news is Draft Telecommunications, Television, Radio and Associated Services Rules 2026. So now, what is the news here? What is the issue here? So the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting had released the Draft Telecommunications, Television, Radio and Associated Services Rules 2026 for public and inter-ministerial consultation. The rules are framed under the Telecommunication Act 2023. So now this will consolidate the multiple broadcasting related guidelines into a single regulatory framework and to harmonize and simplify the rules governing television, radio and associated broadcasting services. So are these important? Not that much. If you wish, you can read this article or go through it once. Now what is important in this article, what you should remember is this. Now this Telecommunication Act 2023, it replaced the Indian Telegraph Act 1885. So remember this much, that is Telecommunication Act 2023 replaced the Indian Telegraph Act 1885. Okay, so this much is for this article. And next, Delhi government's e-office system completes 1 year. So what is the major news here, or what you should learn from it? Is it important that Delhi government's office is completing 1 year? So no. So what you should remember? So let's see. So what is the e-office system? E-office means, as we have read in the NEVA, okay, so it is the same kind of thing. E-office means e-governance, like online repository of official files, online record keeping, integrative approach, we can say, like integrating or linkage between the networks and all, like we can access the information from the site only, and replacing the traditional paper-based administration. Here it is written, see, replacing the traditional paper-based administration. So what is the major thing here? So remember this much, it is the same which we learned in the NEVA application part. So this is like, it replaces the traditional paperwork to e-applications. So this much, nothing more important to remember. Now coming to right to work. So yes, this is important. What we can learn from this, So the Supreme Court held that right to walk on safe, unobstructed and demarcated footpaths is a fundamental right flowing from Article 19(1)(d), that is freedom of movement, and Article 21, that is right to life and personal liberty. Now in prelims it can come like right to work is considered as a fundamental right. This is the first point. The second is like it comes under Article 1 clause D and Article 19. Third, it will come that it comes under Article 21 only. So Article 19 1 clause D or and Article 21, and in third point it will come Article 21 alone. So choose from the options. So you have to remember that it comes under both, that is Article 19 clause 1 clause D and Article 21 also. Okay, so it is our freedom of movement and as well as it is a right to life and personal liberty, that is right to walk on safe, unobstructed and demarcated footpaths, and it is our fundamental right. So first point is correct, that is it. Yes, it is our fundamental right. So here it is written like pedestrian rights have priority over the movement of motor vehicles. Now here what is important, this significance, that is recenters urban planning around the people. So like basically while urban planning, the major prioritization is given to motor vehicles through flyovers, wider roads, parking infrastructure and all. But now the focus is coming to pedestrians, to the walking part. Okay. The next is strengthens road safety. That is, due to this poor pedestrian infrastructure, it contributes to road fatalities. So it is the same, that is right to life and dignity, that is Article 21. Now, advances inclusive mobility, like it benefits the children, elderly persons, women, persons with disability and all. Next is challenges on ground. What are the challenges? So the challenges are encroachment of footpaths, that is sidewalks. These sidewalks often they are created but they are occupied by the vendors, parked vehicles, utility structures, commercial extensions, or like people will be using it as their stay kind of thing, and this leads to increasing accidents. The next is like inadequate infrastructure, like many roads they lack footpaths or have poorly maintained, discontinuous and unsafe sidewalks. Broken pavements, open manholes, and inaccessible designs reduce walkability. Then is weak urban governance, that is responsibility is fragmented among municipal bodies, development authorities, traffic police, public works departments. Poor coordination leads to ineffective implementation. So this you should remember, that is the significance and the challenges, and that it comes under article, which Article 19 and 21, and it is a fundamental right, that is the right to work. So this much is from this article. Coming to the next one, 11th Governing Council meeting of Niti Aayog. So here what you should remember, see the complete article is not at all important. You can take a look, you can go through it, but you don't need to memorize all. But this table is very important. This side box is very important. So what are the main things? So Niti Aayog is an executive body. This is the first thing you should remember, that Niti Aayog is an executive body. It was established in 1st January 2015. Replaces the Planning Commission. Then basis is Union Cabinet Resolution, and it is neither constitutional nor statutory. It is an executive body. Now what is its objective? It serves as the Government of India's premier public policy think tank. It promotes cooperative and competitive federalism. It provides strategic and technical advice to the governments, and it features our bottom-up planning approach, state participation in policy making, focus on innovative entrepreneurship and evidence-based governance, and acts as a catalyst rather than funding allocation body, unlike its predecessor Planning Commission. Now what is its composition? It is very important. Memorize it as soon as possible. So the Governing Council is the apex body of the Niti Aayog and comprises Prime Minister as the chairperson, Chief Ministers of all the states, Chief Ministers of Union Territories with legislatures, Lieutenant Governors or Administrators of UTs, Vice Chairperson and members of the Niti Aayog, and special invitees nominated by the Prime Minister. So this is about the composition of the Niti Aayog Governing Council. And the last is the function, that is it fosters cooperative federalism, evolves a shared national development agenda, provides a platform for center-state consultations, resolves intersectoral and intergovernmental issues, encourages exchange of best practices among states. So what the next you should memorize is this four pillars. Like in this year also, UPSC has gave a question on what were the pillars or the outcomes of the meeting. So here it, or the which pillars are focused. So these questions come often. So now memorize it. Like there are four pillars like foundational human capital. So something related to human capital or future ready skills, human capital and all. This is the first point. Second is productive employment. That is, it is talking about employment, entrepreneurship, decentralized growth and all something. Next, health, nutrition. Of course, first is providing skill, then getting job, then you take care of your health, and dignity for all. That is equity and dignity. Now, after taking health, the care of your health and all, you look for equity and dignity in the society and all. So these are the four pillars. First is human capital and skills, then is employment, entrepreneurship and decentralized growth, then health, nutrition and well-being, then is equity and dignity for all. So these are the four pillars. Okay. And this is about this article. Yeah. So in the next lecture, I will be ending the polity and governance section. And like, share and subscribe the channel. Thank you.